Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Episode 14. First things first, this was another aggravating episode. I said, am I back watching Season 5, or is this a new season? Because when I tuned in for this season, I was expecting a very fun, lighthearted, some cute shade, some cute parties, and that's not what I've been getting. I also want to point out, please don't let Mia and Candice's argument distract you from the fact that Ashley Darby is the true villain on this cast, because that stunt that she pulled at the dinner, I was too through. But with all that being said, let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. We start off the episode right where we left it off last week. Candice and Mia are still in the midst of their argument. Child, it's more salad being tossed. Some porcelain plates have been broken. I said, what a mess. I would have cursed everybody out in that house. I know you're like, wait, what? Yeah, I would have. Because don't sit up here and throw that food around. Especially not the food that I ordered to have catered for everybody. Y'all would have seen a different side of me. I'm telling you right now, don't play with me and don't play with my food. All the husbands are like, wait, what's going on? Askala's husband is not here for it. Then we see Eddie and Chris Bassett outside. Chris is like, wait, are they throwing food at each other? Like, what's going on? And can I say something? Eddie's commentary throughout this whole episode had me screaming. Like, Eddie is not with the BS whatsoever. He's very laid back and cool. He's not trying to hear all this arguing and craziness. So Karen is trying to calm Candice down. She's like, Candice, you don't know her mom's story. Like, you shouldn't have said that. Candice keeps saying, I don't care, I don't care. You don't get to talk to me crazy and then say that I can't respond back. And I agree with that. Now, do I think that she should have included Mia's mom in her insults? No. Like I said, Mia is a walking read, and Candice has a lot of material that she could have read her on. So she did not have to include her mom in the reads. Just saying. So anyhow, Mia comes back in the kitchen and she's screaming at Candice, talking about Candice is a spoiled brat. Candice keeps yelling out, I was nice to your ass, but you were disrespectful to me. So did you guys catch how Mia said, who cares that you were nice to me? I don't have to be nice to you. I said, are you kidding me? I don't understand how hard it is for Mia to apologize and say, you know what, Candice? I should not have said that your music video was low budget. Period, point blank. Especially if you want an apology for Candice cracking on your mom, saying that your mom was low budget. And say what you want, but Candice was very welcoming to Mia in the beginning of this season. Candice also gave Mia a really nice room in the estate when they were at Williamsburg. She could have put Mia in the cottage. And the fact that she gave Mia a nice room, like, I don't understand why Mia has this attitude, like, I don't have to be nice to you. Like, girl, Giselle and Robin were low-key hazing you, but you don't care because you just want to be friends with them so bad. Candice says, I don't care about her sob story because you can't say whatever you want to me and then think that I have to say nothing. And again, I agree. I feel like all the women on this cast want Candice to just shut up and take it lying down. And I still stand by my whole stance in last week's recap that I feel like things did not have to escalate as fast and as far as they did. I feel like Candice should have just had a few reads for Mia and then ignored her, paid her dust. Mia and Gordon want to leave. Candice is like, go home. Like, gee, take your bitch home. And I don't like that. I don't like when people try to address somebody's spouse to talk badly about the spouse. Like, don't do that. I don't think that's cute because I don't like when they try to come to Chris Bassett and talk about Candice. Candice, I didn't think that that was cool to refer to that man's wife as his bitch. That wasn't cool. This episode was very aggravating to watch. Candice irritated me. Mia irritated me. Ashley sent me over. Robin and Giselle pissed me off. So nobody here is blameless or innocent like I've been saying. So of course, Ashley's trying to calm Mia and Gordon down. And she's like, I don't want you guys to go. I want you guys to stay. Of course you want them to stay, Ashley. You just want anybody in that house who's against Candice. So Eddie and Chris Bassett are playing pool in the next room. And Wendy's like, Eddie, I need you to come in here. Mia and Gordon are trying to leave. Candice is crying in the kitchen. There's a whole bunch of salad on the floor, like a hot mess. I'm gonna need y'all to come in and help me because this trip is going downhill really fast. So Chris comes into the kitchen and Candice is like, yup, my husband's coming in here to yell at me like I'm in trouble. Chris takes Candice outside and he's trying to calm her down and talk her off the ledge. And say what you want, but I like Chris Bassett a lot. I think he's very laid back. He's very reasonable. He's very logical. Okay? He really tries to diffuse situations. He tries to get Candice to see things from another perspective. I liked how he was telling her, look, I understand that, but there needs to be a point where everybody just shuts the entire F up and just learns to walk away. He tells Candice, like, when you make a big deal about her saying that your stuff is low budget, you signal insecurity to her. And he says, are you insecure? Candice says, no. He says, okay, but you making a big deal about that signals some insecurity on your part. And he made perfect sense. And I understand that as an artist, you're very sensitive about your work. I get it. As a content creator, I get it, okay? We all put a lot of time and effort, and the amount of editing that goes into these videos makes you want to scream and slap somebody. Ask me how I know. You do get defensive or upset if somebody were to critique your work and say that it was bad or messed up. Like, I get it. She has every right to be upset about that because I would have went off on Mia too. But after a certain point, it's like overkill. I felt like Candice should have read her down and then walked away, paid her dust for the rest of the trip. I would not give Mia the satisfaction of knowing that she got under my skin. And it's like anything in life. You have to pick and choose your battles, pick and choose what you respond to. I would look crazy responding to every troll who came on my page, okay? I just feel like you have to pick and choose your battles, and you have to know when people are baiting you to get a rise out of you. And for me, I refuse to give people the satisfaction of knowing that they said something that would upset me. And if I know that I've given my best in something, then I don't really care about what somebody else has to say. Because everything looks easy until you try to do it. I wonder what a music video from Mia would look like. I think that Mia is a very insecure woman. And I think it bothers her that Candice grew up with a silver spoon and she didn't. So now, while Chris and Candice are outside, Mia, Karen, Wendy, Ascala, and Ashley are in one of the living rooms, and they're talking about the whole situation. Mia's getting teary-eyed, and she kept saying, you know, my mom has worked really hard for her sobriety, and this could send her into a relapse. Now, Mia, let's not. Let's stop with the dramatics. Let's stop with the reaching. Your mom is not going to be sent into relapse over Candice saying that she's low budget. Second of all, if you were that concerned about your mom's sobriety, you would not have her on this show, milking y'all's relationship for a storyline. So let's get that clear. What we're not going to do is do this. Yes, you have every right to be upset because who wants anybody to talk about their parents? I get it. And I do think that Candice should not have mentioned your mom when she was reading you. But don't act like that's going to send your mom spiraling. And if mothers are off limits, then you should not have gone to her mother and said anything about their marriage. That was out of line. Mia, you want somebody to apologize to you, but you have yet to apologize to Candice for the things that you've said and done to her. You should not have said anything to Miss Dorothy. All you should have said was, "Hi, Miss Dorothy. My name is Mia. How are you today? You look nice. Nice to meet you." Made some small talk about the video shoot, and that should have been that. But all this extra sauce, talking about, oh, is he getting paid? And a lot of you guys keep saying, well, Mama Dorothy is at fault. Yes, we know she's at fault, because what mother does that to their kid? My mother would have told Mia off real quick. She would have been like, oh, I don't play that. My mom doesn't play about me, okay? So Mia would have been checked real quickly. Don't sit up here and think you're going to have a key at my daughter's expense. So while Mia is crying about how she's worried about her mom, you have Ashley in the background talking about, yeah, that's what Candice does. She always hits below the belt. Now, girl, let me get on you, because how dare you talk about anybody going below the belt? It was below the belt for you to spread that Robin and Juan only had $25 in their bank account season 1. And let's not forget how you sent Katie Ross into a mental breakdown knowing that she had lost custody of her 3 children. So don't start about below the belt. And you were sitting up there talking about your good friend Monique, right? Season 3. And you spread around that Monique had a drinking problem. I know I'm not the only one who remembers that. Right? Because in my opinion, saying that your good friend has a drinking problem, that's below the belt to me. But yet Candice is the one who hits below the belt. I want Ashley off this show immediately. You want to talk about somebody who I can't stand? If they keep everybody for season 7, they better remove Ashley. I can't stand her. And for some reason, everybody on this cast has sudden amnesia because she's a mom now. And the viewers now are looking at Ashley through rose-colored glasses, and I'm confused. But yet there's no colorism on this cast. Got it. So now Escala says, Mia, I think that you calling her video shoot low budget really hurt her. So of course, Mia refuses to take accountability, and she says, well, I mean, it was low budget, and if that were me, I would have said, you know what, it's low budget, but I'm gonna do better, because when I first started out in business, I was low budget, but now I make $450,000 a year. So they're all like, girl, what? I said, this is Real Housewives material? This is what you do? You discuss how much you make? I said, girl, to say that that's not one of the most tackiest, gauche things that you could ever do, discussing how much money you make. How embarrassing. And it's also embarrassing because the way Mia acts, I assumed that she was making millions. Another reason why you shouldn't talk about how much you make, because then people are like, oh, I thought you made more. Mia really associates money and having things with being better than people. I think she still can't wipe away that feeling of not feeling like she was enough or worthy as a child. And that's why she's always bragging and always talking about how she's such a boss. And sis, to be touching close to $500,000 a year, like you said, I mean, you can call up the Four Seasons, the Ritz-Carlton, the Intercontinental, my dear, and book a spa treatment for a facial ASAP. Tighten up those pores, sis, because that skin does not say almost $500,000 a year. It says a very different story, but I digress. I loved how Escala asked Mia, is this why you talk about money and business and work so much, because you didn't have it growing up? And when Mia says, no, it was like, girl, it's evident that that's the reason why, because nobody who's secure in themselves or is used to having a little something would ever say the things that you say. I'm just saying. whatever they decide to do with this cast, I just hope that Escala is a full-time housewife. Everybody's telling Mia how much they want her to stay in the house. Karen's giving Mia a big pep talk saying, look, Mia, don't let anybody make you and your mother feel cheap. Remember who you are. I said, you better go on, Karen, and give Mia some motherly love and some motherly advice. Go ahead, sis. I said, you know what I wrote in my notes? When Karen was giving her that big old strong black woman, you remember who you are talk. I said, full of BS.
You know what? It's too much.
I know, it's funny. I never really show you my notes before, but they're all typed up and like nice and neat, and yeah. It's easier to type your notes versus writing because you catch everything versus when you're writing, it's like hard to get everything that they're saying down. I just thought I would share that, and I don't know why, but I'm just in a very chatty mood today, so yeah. Chris and Candice come back into the house. Mia and Gordon decide that they're going to stay after all, and so it's Mia, Gordon, and Karen in the stairwell, and they were talking and joking about something. And child, Gordon has his tongue out at Karen talking about some, you look good, girl. And Karen's like, oh, excuse me, like, like I'm about to tell Ray that you have your tongue out at me. You could tell that Gordon loves the cameras. He loves the spotlight. Because the way he was acting in this episode, I said he loves all the attention. So Ashley comes down to join them. She's like, oh, what are y'all talking about? Mia's joking about how Candice was calling her a stripper and how Gordon's her pimp. So she's like, yeah, babe, you know, they said that I was on the corner working the pole, whatever. So Gordon's like, you know, I didn't see you on the pole, but yeah, you were entertaining. I saw you. And so he's like dancing. And then he says that they would sit and talk in the club all the time. Mia says that she made $10,000 talking to him for 2 hours. So they're looking like, I know you did not make $10,000 just by talking. Like, you were obviously doing a little something extra, okay? You weren't talking all them hours. And we know that Mia lies a lot, so I don't believe that she was just talking, making that 10 grand. Karen goes upstairs to pick out a bedroom, and then we see Chris Bassett sweeping up all the mess that was caused by Candice and Mia. So Ashley walks into the kitchen to get something out the fridge. So Chris Bassett says to Ashley, hey, Ashley, I know that you and my wife don't get along, but I have to say, you know, motherhood looks really good on you. Keep doing your thing, and I still follow you on IG. I said, now hold up. I believe that couples need to be a team. If somebody does not like your wife, Chris, you shouldn't be liking them either. You're not going to be sitting up there talking and being nice and complimenting the enemy. Absolutely not. And I was really pissed, like, Chris, just ignore her. When she came into that kitchen, don't say anything to her. Keep on sweeping and just leave it at that. Ashley says, that's so nice of you, Chris. Thank you so much. And by the way, your wife called me wide. I said, girl, shut up. All the nasty things that you've said about people. And I was so happy when Andy called you out on Watch What Happens Live last night and said, well, Ashley, you said that Charisse had saggy tits in season 2. Ashley says in her confessional, you know, Chris is really nice, but his wife is incapable of being a decent human being. I said, oh, so now that you've had 2 babies, you're Mother Teresa now. Got it. You're one of the most vilest people on this cast, and your husband is absolutely disgusting. But you want to talk about people being a decent human being. So now we see Ashley, Wendy, Escala, and Karen talking in Ashley's room. And Wendy's like, you know, they completely ruined my moment. Like, all this fighting, they stole my shine. Karen says, yeah, I know. They're sitting up there tossing salad. Like, I can sit up there and toss my own salad at home. So the way I was dying, I mean, I could not stop laughing when Karen said that. I said, Karen is a fool. So they're all looking at Karen like, girl, do you know what tossing your salad means? So Wendy says, Karen, you can't eat your own. says, what? So she's like, oh no, I'm leaving. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about this tossing of salads. Like, y'all got it. I'm out. Shout out to everybody. I have fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
Now, Karen, you are almost 60 years old. I find it really hard to believe that you didn't know what tossing the salad meant. Unless y'all call it something different back in your day, but I feel like everybody knows what that means. Everybody, because I've heard old folks say it. So we see 2 Range Rovers pull up to the house, and lo and behold, it is Giselle and Robin. They decided to come after all. I said, I know they did. Because when you don't go on cast trips, you don't get paid for that episode. So those producers said, if you want to get paid, then y'all better bring y'all's black asses on down to the Eastern Shore and film. So Robin and Giselle get to their room, and this room was definitely the last pick. All right, I would have checked myself in to the nearest Ritz-Carlton, because I would be like, okay, you know what, I'm out. Like, I'll meet y'all at dinner, but I'm not staying here. So anyhow, they're not pleased at all. Giselle is upset because somebody put a crab cake on the bed. So she's like, what is this? Giselle and Robin are really upset because they don't have a bathroom connected to their room, but everybody else has a bathroom. So they're like, okay, so where are we gonna get ready at? Like, do we have to share someone else's bathroom? They're just pissed. And I said, well, isn't this karma for how you didn't want Karen and Wendy to use the bathroom in your home for your reasonably shady party?
See, when you do clownery, the clown comes back to bite.
So Candice goes into Robin and Giselle's room, and she's telling them all that went down with her and Mia. She's like, look, we got into an argument, and I thought that Mia looked hungry, so I threw 2 pieces of lettuce at her, and I also called her mama low budget. So Giselle's like, you know, that's not right. I mean, you can't talk about somebody's moms. Moms are off limit in this group. Candice says, now hold on, because y'all come for Mama Dot all the time. Then she says it was an equal exchange. So now Giselle says, well, I heard that Mia was crying really badly about what you said. So Candice says, wait, she was? And then Candice says in her confessional, well, if I had known that she'd had all this trauma, I would have just stuck to reading her about her hands and her feet. Now Wendy comes into the room to greet Giselle and Robin, and she has a big smile on her face. Giselle makes a really snide remark saying, oh, I haven't seen a smiling face from Wendy in a minute. So Wendy's like, look, I'm not here for any drama. I'm not engaging with any of the BS. I'm just here to have a good time. So they're asking Wendy, like, if they have a bathroom connected to their room and what bathroom can they use. Wendy's looking around like, girl, I really don't know. You guys can use the bathroom downstairs. Giselle's upset. Robin's like, look, I'm on my period, so I need my own bathroom. Like, I could have stayed home. Then Giselle says in her confessional that once again, Wendy's failed. You, with the world's smallest charcuterie tray, a construction site, outside in the tent with the bugs, a full bar with no food, and then not even allowing certain guests to use your bathroom. You have no right. You are in no position to discuss anybody's hosting skills being not up to par. You were a poor hostess at your party. You shouldn't have even had it at your house because your house was not ready. It should have been at a nice restaurant or hotel. So spare me with Wendy's a poor hostess. She failed because you are nobody's hostess. Stop it. Ashley comes into the room greeting them. She's happy to see her 2 best friends, and she hands everybody shots. So she's like, you guys can use my bathroom. And we all know that Ashley worships the ground that those 2 walk on. So she would give them her bed if they asked. So everybody's all dressed. I don't know what Robin, Giselle, and Ashley were wearing. They cannot seem to get it right, ever. They get on the party bus to the restaurant, and Candice and Mia are sitting right next to each other. I would have said to Chris Bassett, hey babe, can we switch seats? Because I'm not going to sit up here next to somebody who I can't stand. Karen, Giselle, and Ashley are sitting next to each other on the back of the bus, and they're just having a cute little key like they're just the three best friends. Karen says, Giselle, do you know what tossing the salad means? And Giselle's like, yeah. So then Giselle says, Karen, do you know what teabagging is? So Karen's like, no, like, what is it? So Giselle is explaining it, and Karen's facial expressions had me on the floor. And I will say, I really enjoyed seeing Karen and Giselle get along. Giselle and Karen are really similar, so it's just really baffling that they can't seem to get right. Like, they are much better as friends than they are as enemies. They finally arrive at the restaurant. They all sit down, and Wendy says a really nice speech about how this is their first time all together, and she hopes that they can all have a good time, and she's happy that they're all there. Wendy is a lot nicer than me because I would have started off that conversation saying, Mia and Candice, y'all both owe me an apology for showing y'all's behinds at the start of this trip and throwing the salad and those plates that I paid for. And I also would have gotten on Giselle and Robin for making a surprise appearance and then being upset about the room that was left. So now they all start chanting GVO, GVO at the table, and everybody at the restaurant is looking at them. So there was a table behind where Ashley and Robin and Wendy were sitting, and it was this table full of guys. Now, I thought the guys were single. They were very cute, by the way. But they're looking and they're kind of making eyes at Giselle. And Ashley's like, Giselle, those guys keep giving you the eye. Giselle says they're cute, but not tonight because I have my broken foot. I said, now, Ashley, they're sitting behind you. So how did you even catch that they were giving eyes to Giselle? I don't care what anybody says. She wants out of that raggedy marriage. Well, Michael probably wants out too because he's not trying to be monogamous or faithful. So I think that they both want out. She's probably trying to line up her next victim. Robin's at the table. She's just sulking and pouting. She's not in a good mood. She's not feeling well because she's on her period. She's scrolling on her phone because she's looking at a hotel to check in because she is not trying to stay at that house with no bathroom. I understand, but I do feel like, Robin, you were better off just staying at the house because nobody wants to be out with somebody who's like bringing the whole group down. You're in a bad mood. It's like, that's not fun. And I'm one of those people, my misery does not like company. If I'm in a bad mood, if I'm in pain, I'm not going to go out and infect everybody else with my bad mood. I'm going to stay by myself, stay home. Because I don't believe in ruining someone else's time because I'm feeling a type of way about something. Robin, you were better off ordering some Uber Eats to the house and letting everybody else go. Now the waitress comes over and she says, those gentlemen behind you guys, they just bought you guys a round of shots. So they're like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. So baby, you see the next table and it's a whole bunch of women. They're screaming like, wait a second, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you just bought them shots? Like, what about your wives? All of those men were married to the women behind where Giselle, Candice, and Karen were sitting. I was on the floor. I said, I thought all those men were single. And here they are trying to be some big ballers, and their wives are at the next table. So Wendy turns around to the guys and she's like, wait, you bought us shots and not your wives? Like, don't do that. So then Wendy calls the waitress over and she says, get them whatever they want, like, to make up for their husbands not buying them some shots. So now Karen walks over to the men and she's like, now guys, I've been married 25 years to my man, and I can tell you, you buying us shots and not your wives, that's going to get you divorced. And so she's like, you need to make it up to them. hit the Gucci store, hit YSL, because y'all giving us shots and not them, that's a no-no. To all my married subscribers, how would you feel if your husband bought a group shots and they didn't buy you shots? Like, you guys are at the restaurant together, right? Like, just how these couples were, they were sitting at 2 different tables. How would you feel if you saw your husbands buy a round of shots for these ladies with their men? Like, how would you feel? Would you feel some sort of way, or would you just laugh it off? I honestly feel like those men did it just for camera time. It was obvious that they wanted some of that spotlight on them, and that's why they did it. Wendy says, let's toast up to forgiveness. Here comes Ashley making a really snide remark saying, Candice needs to turn her head the other way. I said, girl, shut up. Ashley has a hard-on for Candice. She is always bringing Candice up every chance she gets. Say what you want, but Candice doesn't bring Ashley up. So now Ashley brings up the mess between Candice and Mia. First of all, Ashley, you don't even know the backstory of what led to this argument between Candice and Mia in the first place. You weren't at the video shoot. You didn't see what Mia was doing, talking to Miss Dorothy about Candice's marriage. You're always trying to insert yourself in whatever issue that Candice has. So Chris Bassett interjects and says, the same way that I am with Gordon, like we're still cool even though our wives are on the outs with each other, I want to get to that place with Michael when you and Candice constantly go at it. Ashley says, well, Michael doesn't feel any way about you, Chris. It's just the fact that, you know, you've said some nasty things about him, like you and your wife. So Chris Bassett says, that's absolutely not true. I have never said one bad thing about Michael. So now Ashley says, that's false. Now, girl, when they played the tape back, we all saw how your husband was dogging Chris out, talking about how Chris has a failed restaurant and all this really nasty stuff at Robin and Juan's engagement party. And Chris Bassett has never said anything behind Michael's back. He said it all to his face. So what are you saying? So Chris keeps reiterating how he has never talked about Michael behind his back. So of course, here comes Ashley. Well, your wife has. I said, Ashley, you to act like Candice is the only person who's talked about your husband. Well, that's really comical, seeing how Karen has said that she can't stand Michael. Ray said that he would have punched Michael out. I think it was season 1 or season 2 reunion. Giselle and Robin have also made statements on how much they don't like Michael. They called Michael Crocodile Dundee season 1. Giselle thought that Michael was creepy. Everybody on that cast has said some really disparaging things about Michael. So why are you so zeroed in to what Candice has said about your husband, when your husband has also talked about Candice like a dog? Again, it's the double standards on this cast that really had me wanting to not watch this show again. It's annoying. So Ashley brings up how Candice called Michael a slave driver. Ashley says, you have no idea how to be a civil human being. I said, girl, you're the wrong person to talk. There is nothing civil about Ashley. She's a very hateful individual. So now Ashley brings up how Candice was putting her finger in Mia's face. I said, don't do that, because how come nobody has called Mia out for putting her fingers in people's faces? Mia provoked Candice in that kitchen and said, I have my hand in your face. What are you going to do? And nobody addressed that. How come nobody said anything when Mia did that? I'll wait. So it's okay when Mia provokes people, but when Candice says one thing, it's a problem. If we're going by certain people's logic, when Mia did that in Candice's face, then Mia should have been touched, right? When Mia put her hand on Wendy's shoulder after Wendy told her, do not touch me, and did it twice, Mia should have been touched then too, right? So how come everybody has sudden amnesia when Mia has her hands in people's faces and touches people, but if Candice does one little thing, it's a problem, and she deserved to get beat up? I need some of these questions to be answered because it's just not making sense. And I'm just being honest. If this is going to keep going on, then I don't think that I'm going to be able to continue watching this show. Because I'm not going to sit here and watch one person be gaslit by the whole cast. And you don't have to like Candice. You don't have to be a fan of hers. You can think that she's out of line. I understand it. But what we're not going to do is have amnesia and conveniently forget what Mia and other people have done. And Ashley, are you forgetting how Robin had her hands in your face season 2? Robin and Giselle rolled up to your now defunct restaurant and Robin told you, you better stop talking about me and Juan. And Robin threatened you with bodily harm. But that's okay. And when Ashley said, Candice, you're the common denominator in last year's situation and this year's situation with you and Mia, I wanted to jump through that TV and go upside Ashley's head. Candice is so livid and she says, you played a major part in last year inserting yourself in some legal drama that had nothing to do with you. Then she says that Ashley is a foul individual, and she is. So now Giselle interjects to stick up for Ashley, and she says, but Ashley didn't start the fight last year, and I'm not going to let you blame Ashley. And that was even more gaslighting because that's not what Candice was doing at all. Candice has every right to express her frustration. Second of all, Ashley had no business inserting herself in that drama between Candice and Monique in the first place. That was evil of her to write a statement against Candice. Giselle is nobody's friend. She has no loyalty to anybody but herself and Robin. And the only reason why Giselle and Robin were on Candice's side is because they both hated Monique so much. That's the only reason why. Candice is so angry. She's just like spiraling out of control, okay? Like she's just so pissed. And you know how you're just so angry that all you can do is just yell and cry. That's where Candice was. She's like, she got involved in legal drama to be a vindictive bitch. And that's exactly what it was. Candice turns to Ashley and says, you're just so beneath a conversation at this juncture. And again, I really wish that Candice would have just paid Ashley dust. I would not even have engaged. I wish that Chris didn't even engage in a conversation with Ashley. The minute Ashley started asking him a few questions, he should have said, Ashley, I'm not doing this with you. Let me just say this. Giselle, Robin, and Ashley, very nasty individuals. But the fact that they have found Candice's Achilles heel and they keep getting the best of her, it's really painful to watch. I was just so upset watching Candice have a fit at the dinner table, and I understood her frustration, but I just wanted Candice to calm down and just sit there and not give them the satisfaction. Did y'all notice that smirk on Ashley's face while this all unfolded? She was getting so much pleasure and enjoyment seeing Candice just spiral out of control. Chris Bassett is so upset by this whole scene at the restaurant because now everybody's staring at them yet again. And he goes outside. Ascala's husband goes after him. He's trying to calm him down, trying to bring him back into the restaurant. And Wendy says, I can't take you hoes nowhere. Like, this is just such raggedy behavior. So, of course, Mia has to add fuel to the fire. She says something nasty to Candice, and Candice says, behave yourself. Don't upset your benefactor. And then Gordon makes a joke like, you know, I'm a kept man. She actually takes care of me. I said, now, Gordon, we know that's a lie. So Mia and Candice keep going back at it. And Karen's sitting in the middle of the both of them. So they're both kind of like doing this with their fingers. Karen says, if I see another finger go in front of my face, I'm about to bite it. Like, she was getting pissed off. And I would have felt annoyed too. Like, don't be doing all this rah, rah, rah in my face. I ain't even do anything. So now Candice gets up from the table and she goes to check on Chris. And Chris is like, can you just let it go and be the bigger person, please? And while Chris is very level-headed and I like that, I don't like how, not that he invalidates her feelings, but it also seems like he doesn't see how his wife is treated in this group. I think that he's so concerned with Candice, just be quiet, quiet down, don't make a scene. But I really want to know, does he see what she's seeing? Because they really are gaslighting her at the table. And they're trying to act like what she's saying didn't happen. They use Candice's emotional immaturity as justification for how they treat her. And I think that Candice fails to see that. She's too worried about getting the last word. She's too worried about, letting them have it, that she doesn't know that she has to be strategic when dealing with these women. So while Candice is still talking to Chris, Giselle, Robin, and Ashley are at the table, and Robin says, that's just not cool. Giselle says, yeah, I wasn't going to let her sit there and just blame you for what happened last year. Like, I didn't like that. Then Giselle says, I don't like that. It feels like last year was in vain. I said, wow. Wow, Giselle and Robin, that's really how you feel, huh? Candice, if you don't know now, I hope you know Giselle and Robin are not your friends. They will always side with Ashley over you. And Robin, one more thing. I didn't forget how you rolled up on Monique in season 3 with that umbrella, and you dared Monique to hit you. So that behavior is okay. You threatened Ashley in season 2, fingers in her face, rolled up on her, told her that you would beat her down, and she kept talking about you and Juan. And then had that umbrella pressed against Monique's chest season 3 and told Monique that you wanted all the smoke. So that behavior is all right. I was too over this episode. I am too through with Giselle, Robin, and Ashley. Ashley is a vile individual, and she ruined that dinner. Because how dare you ruin what was supposed to be a fun night after the afternoon was ruined from what happened with Mia and Candice. Y'all, I'm counting down the days to the finale. The finale is October 31st. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. Won't he do it? We only have a few more episodes to go.
Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
This season of Potomac is not giving what the girl said it was supposed to have gave, in the words of Rolling Ray. But y'all, that was the episode. I hope you all enjoyed my recap. And as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.